Welcome to the Johnny Dell Football Academy podcast on the channel that's trying to answer the whys and hows of the game by talking through and dissecting game film and diving deeper to explain why the X's zig and the O's zag. I am Adam Marino, joined by Mr. Johnny Dell, and we are reminding you, as always, the most fun way to watch is on YouTube, where we go live. There you can comment into the live show. Be sure to hit the notification bell and turn on your notifications so you can be a part of the conversation. We also stream live on Facebook and X. Also, the audio versions are always found on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Now, if you are live with us in the chat, it's probably because you are subscribed, you've hit the notification bell, and turned those notifications on. So, when sharing with your friends, be sure to let them know. We also love to hear from you outside of our live show. Email us at jonnydelsfootballacademy@gmail.com, and you can always check out the website JFA49.com, as it is the most fun way to support the channel. Also, the way we boost the chat and boost the algorithm is to type out hashtag JD49.
Well, good morning. It is Monday, June 8th. Welcome in, everybody. We are now just about 3 months out. I know that seems like so long, but 3 months out from the start of the regular season. 49ers and Rams in Australia. Not a big fan of that. Not a big fan of everything. I will say, as people have seen, apparently Brandon Ayuk made a post on Instagram the other day. It was a little crazy. Talking about the 49ers are about to get that belt. And they're running from that belt. And at least it seems like he was talking about the 49ers. I don't know. But in all of that, Brandon Ayuk is still there, and it's still a thing. It will be for the foreseeable future, as I talked about on the show Friday. The 49ers' best option, honestly, is for him to stay under contract, but them put him on the did not report list when training camp starts. Considering what things have been, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. We'll see. At some point, there will be an end to the Brandon Ayuk saga, but it is not today. In that, though, we are looking forward to not the players that won't be on the team going forward, but the players who are now a part of the team and have a chance to make an impact this year and beyond. And that is our rookie class. We've been going over the film on our rookie class this year. I also want to say a big shout out to Mr. Adam Marino. He is not with us today. He is actually in the Bay Area going to a Giants game. So I believe there's a Giants game tonight that he's going to. So that is why he is not with us. He is gone, but not forgotten today on the show. But we're going to dive into another rookie this year, or this week, that we pulled out of the draft. Somebody that I didn't have a lot of work done on. I didn't see us going corner over safety in the draft, but we did. So surprise to me. And we went and got the kid Ephesians Prysock from Washington in the 4th round. And so I put on his tape, wanted to see what was up with this kid. And he was another guy that was there at the Senior Bowl. I wasn't watching a lot of the corners at the Senior Bowl. I was paying attention to receivers and offensive line and edge rushers. And so I had to go back, watch through every rep of his at the Senior Bowl, went and watched his entire year with Washington in the defense. I will say that unless you've watched corner tape, it's a different animal. There's a whole lot of nothing burgers going on, and there's a lot of just plays where you kind of go, okay, they were out there on the field. And I think it does speak to the mental makeup it takes to play that position and to play wide receiver, because these are guys that are on the outside. 90% of their plays are happening in a void. Receivers are running clearing routes. They're running routes away from where the coverage dictates the ball goes. And you can kind of see why some receivers just go nuts on their team because they put in all this work during the entire off season, during the preseason. They are oftentimes some of the best athletes out there, and they really only get about 5 to 8 true opportunities a game, and everything has to go right with everybody else for those 5 to 8 opportunities to actually actuate. And same with the corners. You have to stay locked in on every single play, even when 90% of the plays that happen, you're not going to be involved in. And you've got to be bought in for that moment. And so you'll go 20 plays without really any action. And then you'll have that one play that it could make or break the game because you are in a one-on-one situation with somebody else who is just as crazy to get their opportunity and to make the most of it. And it takes a lot of mental discipline to play that position, to be out there and do that. So that I think is an overlooked element of it, is the mental discipline it takes to play corner in the NFL, that you're gonna be absolutely tossed to the side if you have a 3% failure rate. So it's the margins are insanely tight with playing corner. So a lot of the mental makeup goes in, and that's clearly something that they fell in love with Ephesians Prysock and wanted to do. But when you see the kid out there, you go, man, it is a tough. I had to gather my thoughts for a second. So he's somebody that has a lot of upside and potential, that he can be an extremely tough matchup for receivers. My scouting report on him after watching all this tape and everything is that he is a tall, lengthy corner. I know that is not coming as a shock to everybody when you see the pictures and when you see he's there. When you just look at that, he is 6'3". That's not common for a corner. When his technique is strong and he stays disciplined, his frame gives wide receivers fits trying to get off the line, as even some of the bigger wide receivers struggled getting into his frame before he got into theirs. He's got incredibly long arms. The length and long stride give him the potential to turn anything outside the numbers into a black hole. I remember looking at the quarterback passing charts when Richard Sherman was here, and it was like that entire deep third or intermediate and deep third area of the field where he played largely in cover 3 was just a black hole. There was nothing targeting that area. Ephesians Prysock does have the potential to be that kind of a guy outside the numbers, that he just swallows up anything, and quarterbacks don't want to throw his direction because he has such range and long arms that it makes windows incredibly tight on the outside. He will need to get stronger, though, to battle the 50-50 balls against receivers who will be stronger at the next level. His frame creates incredibly tight windows for quarterbacks to fit the ball into, and he has a willingness in tackling. Could be a potential matchup against multiple tight end sets, but will have to add mass to stand up against the run as the star in Morris's system. And I'm meaning the slot or star position that Morris uses. Footwork needs work. He can get sloppy and over his heels at times, and over-reliance on his long arms cause him to grab and lead too often to penalties. But he has huge upside, and with strong coaching, he can be a great scheme fit. So this is who Ephesians Prysock is as a primer, and we will look at his tape. We're going back first to the Senior Bowl, the one-on-ones. So here he is. This is what I mean about the footwork getting a little bit sloppy and getting out over his heels or back on his heels. So here he's just not chopping the feet enough. His torso is going to get a little bit back over the heels, and that prevents him from sticking a foot in the ground and driving on anything here. So you can see that upper body go lean back. And as the slant comes, there it is. That's what happens when you get out over your heels, or back over your heels, excuse me. You can't stick a foot in the ground and drive on the ball. And so just a simple slant route becomes a big completion with a lot of separation and move on it. Here it is from the end zone. You can see that just does not keep the feet moving. He keeps them too static. But here's where you see the huge upside is this against Malachi Fields. So Malachi Fields, is one of the biggest bodied receivers out of this class, 6'4", 215-ish pounds. And you're going to see him. He's used to just running through these guys. So remember, this is a 6'4" wide receiver, and these guys together look like they're 5'10" receivers. The way they, as receiver and corner, the way they run and move, but quickly gets into Malachi Fields' body, and then as Fields tries to lean into him, use that he's used to leaning into guys and creating space here, being able to get into smaller guys and just bully them out, and then he breaks in. Well, you can't do that against Ephesians Prysock. He's got the length to get it and then to close and contest the catch point. Here, you see he does a really good job on this high crossing route. The problem is he panics here at the end. And this is just getting too used to using your arms. And so he grabs the guy and turns him and he gets a flag. You'll see it really well from this end zone, grabs the guy and turns his shoulders. You don't need to do that. That guy is smaller than you. He's a lot smaller than you. There's no way that ball is fitting in there. So you just see him grab just too many times. Here against Jacoby Lane, another big-bodied guy. I'm trying to remember who drafted Jacoby Lane. I want to say it was Harbaugh drafted Jacoby Lane, but he went in the 3rd round, if I remember right. And somebody I liked before the draft a lot, 6'4" wide receiver, just going on a go ball here. He's in good position. You can see his length is good on the press, and then he just grabs and holds the arm and gets a flag. It's an unnecessary penalty. You're here. Now I get it. That other guy's a big body too. You didn't squeeze him quite enough against the sideline, but just grabbing the arm, it's going to get called every time. So just a little too grabby. Here, though, against Ted Hurst, another big body receiver, the guy out of Georgia Tech, 6'4". So this was a really interesting team as far as at the Senior Bowl to see these matchups of wide receivers versus this corner, because you had all these 6'4" wide receivers, and then you got this one 6'3" corner in Ephesians Prysock who just suddenly made all these receivers not look so towering and not look so physically dominant. So really interesting how he just showed up there, and he was the guy who could cover these guys and make the throwing windows tight and make it difficult for them. You see here, same thing. This is Ted Hurst. He runs a 4.4, 6'4", and he's right there. You can see the size that he has on him, know where to throw the ball. And then here, this was an interesting drill they did. I had not seen this before at the Senior Bowl. So this team was doing some different stuff. They were trying to do different things in the one-on-ones than just like they were the ones who were doing some run blocking and twists and stunts in the one-on-ones with O-line, D-line. And then they were doing this where they were having these guys try and cover like wide receiver screen passes out here. And then every once in a while they'd run a fake. So they didn't just let him tee off on it that it's going to be a wide receiver screen out here, but they would work these as combos here a lot of times with the safety on fits on these of getting in and making their fits. So they had to play discipline on it. They couldn't do it every time, but it was interesting. I think it made it a little too easy for the corners because like 90% of the time it was just a little swing pass screen here. But notice how he's going to come up on a tight end. He's going to come up and fit on this on a tight end, get in here and press. You can see the length. That's the thing that stands out on this is when he comes up and presses, there's the length. That is against a tight end. That stands out to you as a corner. And this is why I find it just intriguing about the potential of him to play the big nickel role. And so because I think his frame allows him to be a good matchup against most of your tight ends. He did play some slot at Washington. He played some slot at the Senior Bowl. I didn't have a lot of those clips because those were mostly just there wasn't a lot of action there to actually break down. But he had, I want to say in the practice, about 12 reps in the slot, which was actually notable because they usually only got 12 reps, period. So he would take about 6 to 8 to 10, maybe 12, like 6 to 8 reps maybe per practice in the slot. And then he would take 8 to 10 at outside corner. So that was just interesting to me that he was going after that spot. And I do believe that he was trying, and him and his agent said one of your strengths can be you can match up against tight ends and they can put you at the slot, because being a tall guy, usually they don't like tall guys. Upton Stout was 5'9" at the slot, and they want those shorter, lower to the ground, really quick lateral guys. But with this rise of more tight ends and some of the big bodied wide receivers, it's interesting. So I just use that clip to point that out, of that he's got the length to get in there against some of these tight ends. So here he is at the top. Here's another situation, just the poor footwork. He commits to the outside route too early. Trust your speed. Let this guy get out here. Use the sideline. You don't have to commit to this. And if you're gonna do that, you have to close the gap. You got to get in here into his body a little bit more, not just stand off and want to use your length, because then you can wall the guy off and he has to go through you to come back inside. Here, just gets beat, and it's an easy win on the quick slant. So I want to see his footwork improve. It's going to take some time. I think this guy, I project him really as here he is in the slot, as a probably a year two kind of player. I think he's his development track is going to need to be year two. He's not going to be year one. This is that slot then against the slant. Same issue you're seeing against the other two slants. The footwork isn't great. He's out over his heels a little bit. He's not able to put a foot in the ground and drive on the ball. And he is expecting some inside help here, but you got to play that a little bit tighter than that, and drive on the ball a little bit better. Stay over your toes and be able to put a foot in the ground and drive on the ball. All right, so that's Senior Bowl. We're going to get into now the college tape, see what it is here at Old Washington with the Huskies. I have a problem with the Huskies, not going to lie, because you know what? They don't actually use a Husky for their Malamute, or for their mascot. When they run the dog out on the field, everybody thinks it's a Husky. It's actually an Alaskan Malamute. And because of that, everybody thinks my Alaskan Malamute is a Husky, and everybody calls him a Husky, and he's not. But just a little point of contention that I had to play there. But one thing I do really like is that he shows a lot of high football IQ. He understands coverage. He understands layering. And by layering, I mean, when you have one guy on one level, you got to have another guy on another level. And it's for exactly these kinds of plays, because what Wazoo's going to run here is a little switch interference play. So they're trying to create traffic. If he's a little bit shallower, then this creates problems. These two guys are going to run into each other. He's going to run into traffic. So you got to stagger your depths. Shows good awareness on that, and then understands the release here. He's going to see what's going on. He's going to feel it and work underneath this traffic, and then trail this rail route. So they're trying to pick him, and he's covering it the whole time. Cornerback's trying to make a back shoulder throw on this as he's rolling out, and just nowhere to throw the ball. The guy's got to try and make a one-arm catch. So you see that big frame, good high football IQ. Really like what he's doing here. Here he's going to be in the slot again, and they're playing a matching 3 on his side. So they're going to man up the backside, and then they're going to play a matching zone to the other side. So this is a matching 3. And one thing, again, real high football IQ here. They're running an old interference play here on a little rub, as they're going to bring the tight end across on a shallow crossing route. And so they're trying to create this matching on this. He's going to see the shallow crossing route. He's going to break off his man and go attack the shallow crosser, because he recognizes what's going on. There's a little bit of offensive PI here. I will say, just a coaching point here. If you're a wide receiver, you don't do this. You don't follow this guy and act like a blocker. That should get called for offensive PI. Like, you can't chase the guy. You got to make it look like you're running a route. But he's going to end up peeling off this and going and making a tackle on this. So, it should be a huge gain. He's able to get in there, make a tackle for a 2-yard gain. Really love that high awareness of what's going on the play, to see it rip off your guy and then go make a tackle, attack the outside hip, outside leg, like it. Here, he's the outside corner. This is going to be one. Okay, so they're going to run a little flood concept here. So they're going to run a clearing route out and then a sail route on after this. They're going to be in cover 2, the defense on this. I like how he's going to funnel this outside route back to his safety. So he's going to work this guy inside who's playing deep half safety. He's going to funnel him in there. And so he's going to redirect the route, and then he peels off and he's going to pick up this sail route. That's where this quarterback, as they're rolling out, that's where he wants to go. That's where this play is designed. And then it's going to be to 3 and 4. And he does a good job of settling on it, getting eyes back to the quarterback, gaining depth. The quarterback is saying, I'm not making that throw over that guy. So now he's got to then look back to option number 3, where he's going to throw this ball into a waiting underneath defender who's able to separate the receiver from the ball. That's a really high IQ play that it's not going to show up in the stat sheet for him as a pass defense, but that's on a 3rd down. He takes away the primary and forces a throw into coverage into the underneath, and it gets your team off the field. That's a high IQ play. Really like that. Here you're going to see something similar. They're going to show single high, and I believe they drop into cover 2. You're going to see the safety bails late. Again, good job gaining depth. They want to hit this crosser is where the offense really wants to go. They're trying to clear this safety out, then pull Prysock down into the flat and hit this crosser. That's where they want to go, is right in here. He's going to see it, and he's ready to attack this crosser. The quarterback sees that, and he says, I can't fit that ball in here. This is the 1st down marker, right? And if he's not here, if he attacks this, they're making this throw, and this guy's in here for the touchdown. So this is one, he's staying disciplined, ready to attack this. He's waiting for him to clear the underneath. If it's there, nowhere to go with the ball on that. So the quarterback's got to dump it down. So then he's going to rally and get in on the tackle and force a throw short of the 1st down marker. This one I wanted to show that I showed the card beforehand, because it actually is 4th down, I believe, on this one. I don't know why that showed up the way it was, but this is a 4th down. He ends up, they're trying to hit this on the outside. Oh, I remember why it showed 4th downs, because right after this play, it was a turnover on downs. They'll show the next down. So they're trying to hit this corner so they can go and grab him with the flat route. But again, stays disciplined, stays up, gains depth, doesn't allow out over leverage on his safety. And so the quarterback, as you can see, it's 4th down right here. The quarterback has to dump this ball down. So they, like I said, they wanted to hit this. This is 4th down. They're trying to go for the end zone, but he gains depth, stays underneath, keeps his help on his safety. He's going to force the underneath throw and then rally and force your guy out of bounds. This is, again, good fundamentals here, good high IQ. He's going to understand that the boundary is your help. This guy, you leverage him in here and you force him to the sideline. Use that boundary as your help, and he gets him out of bounds, and it's a turnover on downs. So that is as good as forcing a turnover. I love that part of it. His football IQ is really high. He understands where he's supposed to be in coverage, and there's a lot of good things. Now, this is a bit of a roller coaster with Ephesians Prysock, but we are in the fourth round. It's not going to be as clean. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be goods and bads, and we're going to get on the not so good, the things that he'll have to work on. Here, showing this one because this was his only interception on the year, and it was an absolute gimme. He's right here. This is as easy of an interception as you're ever going to get in your life. This is the only one he had on the year. So the turnover production was not great. The ball skills need work. He's not one of those guys that's going to go that's been attacking the ball, is creating a lot of turnovers. That was the one interception he had. And so there is questions about lack of production there. Here, when I say he needs to get stronger, this is a perfect example of that. He's going to get out of phase a little bit on this, on just a go ball, on press coverage. But he's got to be able to contest through this catch point. He's not strong enough to get up in there and rip this ball out from the receiver. So he gives up a touchdown. His frame is good enough to prevent this throw. He's in there, but you need to be a little bit stronger, get in there and be able to separate the receiver from the ball. Here, he's the near corner, and they're just going to throw this one up here. He's in good position. He stays on top. This ball, I mean, there's no reason this ball should be thrown. He's got a 5-yard cushion on the receiver. Quarterback's just letting it out here. You're in good position, but then you just get boxed out and bodied out of there. You got to be a little bit stronger. You can't be in perfect position and then get boxed out when you're 6'3" on a 30-yard jump ball. You're a 6'3" corner. You need to be stronger and not give that up. So not so great there. Here he's going to be the near corner. They're going to end up running a little quarterback option here, and this is where I say if he's going to play this role of being a guy that is in here against multiple tight ends, here comes a tight end to block him. You got to be stronger at the point of attack against a tight end here. You can't get displaced like this and swallowed up. You got to be more physical, meeting that blocker and go get that guy and go make a play there if you're going to play that role. Now, again, I'm not saying that he's going to play that role, but I think that would make a lot of sense if it were me. Here he's at the top. They're just going to run a short curl. This is on 3rd down. You're going to be impressed. This is your forte. You can't get bullied out of the way. You can't get pushed off the spot by the guy. Here he just gets thrown off. It's on 3rd down, 3rd and 5. You can't give that up as an easy 3rd down. You got to be stronger at the point. So he's a lot of arms and legs. Got to get a little bit stronger. And then this play will kind of give people nightmares, or bring back nightmares. He has one of the easiest interceptions you could have. Hits him in the hands. Just bringing back shades of the 2021 FC Championship game. So I have some concerns there. You should be getting that interception and running back the other way easily. The other problem he has is because he's so long and he likes to play a lot of press and he's not as strong, he tends to grab a lot. So there was just too many flags I saw, like we saw in the one-on-ones at the Senior Bowl. Saw a couple flags there. Here just gets tied up and it doesn't let go. Yeah, at some point you got to let go here. You can't grab the guy, hold on, and then just grab the jerseys and hold on. It's gonna get flagged. That does happen. Here he is at the bottom. He gets beat on a corner out on inside, so he's gonna get beat inside, grab, and then he's gonna get beat on the outside and grab again. So here comes the first grab. There's the first grab. Doesn't get flagged. Ball's a little underthrown, and then he face guards and gets another flag. So see, it's just too many flags for me for what I see here. So this tells me again another developmental guy. He's got to work on the technique, has to work on not panicking. Both refs threw a flag there, but here he's the near corner. They're going to run a little comeback route on him, and again at the top, gets a little sloppy with his footwork, gets bullied a little bit too much, and he just grabs. And so he just reaches out there, yanks on the shoulder pad, and gets a flag. Here he gets a little sloppy with the footwork, and he's going to try and reach out there and press, and he's going to get up into the guy's head a little bit and just miss. So just miss. This is not great technique. Again, the footwork needs work on this kind of stuff. So you're reaching out there, not able to get it, and you give up a big slant for a big completion. Here he's on the far corner. They're going to run a little corner route again. This one, again, just gets beat in here and on the double move and then grabs and gets yanked. And you're going to see 3 refs throw flags. You got a flag, and a flag. When it is so obvious that many refs are throwing a flag, it's not great. You gotta get in there and not grab. Here, another one, he's in good position. They're throwing this go route. I don't even know why the quarterback throws this ball. He's on top of the route the whole way. He's in good position, but the ball's a little underthrown and he doesn't adjust to the ball really well. And he's going to reach out and grab this arm with his arm. And so there it is. He reaches back and he grabs because he's not able to dial down, get in there, and he breaks up the pass, but they throw a flag. There's the laundry coming out right at the end, right? There's the ref throwing the flag. Too many flags. Just saw that. Now, that was a problem that Renardo Green had in college. They sometimes like these guys who are willing to get in their physical, get hands on guys, but you're going to have to work through that. We've seen that with Renardo Green. There's sometimes grabbing a little bit too much. And when you don't want them to grab as much, then they can struggle keeping up. So there's growth that needs to happen. He's not as NFL ready as Renardo Green was. He's got a bigger frame, but those are some things that are really going to need to be tightened up at the next level. And I think it's going to take him with the footwork and building mass. I think it's going to take him a year. That's why I think he's a year 2 guy. I think he's got to get stronger. He's got to get better footwork, but the potential is there. He's got the mental makeup to get in here and make tackles. So what do I really like about him is that he's willing to play physical. He's not the biggest guy, but he's willing to play physical. So here they're going to run a little toss play to the outside, and he's going to rally and get in on this tackle. So, be physical here. We saw that as an issue against the Seahawks with some of our corners of not being physical. That's been one of the Darrell Luter's problems, is not being physical enough. Here he's on the outside. One thing, okay, when you're going to play this off coverage, you're going to give up short curls. Like that's what you are okay with as a defense. When that happens, a lot of times these these receivers are taught come back to the ball, right? So this is going to be a catch at only 3 yards or so. Can you prevent this from being a 9-yard completion or a even bigger completion? You're giving them that, but you've got to rally quickly and go make a solid tackle. And so you will see this a number of times there when he's in this off coverage. You're okay with getting just like that. They come back to the ball. It's a 3-yard throw. Then can you come up? Can you make a strong tackle? And you see his frame just swallows guys up. Like he has no problem getting in there and swallowing guys up. Here, they're going to be in cover 2. He's the corner here is going to sink. He's going to take away the deeper route. They're going to throw it underneath. So I like the discipline here to gain depth. Take this away. So the quarterback's got to then check it down out here. Now, can you rally and make a tackle? This is 3rd down. So I was trying to show this up here. That's 3rd down. It's 3rd and 5. Can you take away help take away the deeper and then rally to the underneath so you don't give up a 1st down? That's what you love to see. Your gets in here, makes the tackle, bang. Short of the 1st down, here's the 1st down marker. You get your team off the field. Sometimes it's not even about how many tackles did a guy get. What were the quality of those tackles? If he's making a tackle and it's after the 1st down on these kind of plays, I'm not loving that. But you can show that you can gain the depth, then come up, make a tackle, and play the situation really well. Get your team off the field. Here's where you're going to see, again, why I think he has potential for this kind of big nickel role. They're going to try and run a wide receiver screen out here. So this is a bigger wide receiver. They're going to try and get him up to block on Ephesians Prysock, who's right here. And they're going to get a screen here. Watch him able to step up and use that length to press through this. So bang, there's that length. He gets into the receiver before the receiver can get to him. He wins into his chest, and he's going to work through this into the receiver to make the tackle at the point of the catch. Those are the traits that get me really excited and think this could be your big nickel kind of guy, right? That you can put him in there and you can say, I want you to be able to match up against tight ends and bigger wide receivers in these condensed wide receiver sets on 3 wide receivers or 12 personnel. That is what I like about it. That's what I think is a huge asset for him. Here, another short curl. Can you prevent the yak on it? They come back to the ball, make the catch, make the tackle, prevent the yak. I really like that. So Here, down at the bottom, another short curl. Again, he's going to be in some off coverage. Can you attack and prevent the yak? So there it is. Again, they come back to the ball. Can you go make this tackle in space? Because if you don't make this tackle, this guy can break your tackle. Whoo, boy, you're giving up an explosive. So you've got to be able to get in here, make strong tackles, and that frame helps him because he doesn't have to lunge. He can get out there, and he's just such a big, long body that he can do that. Here, he's going to be outside corner. This is a tight end. They're going to try and come up and do a little toss out here. And can you come up and make strong tackles against this? So here's a little swing pass. Are you willing to be this force defender, get up in here and go make some plays for a short gain on first down when it's first and forever? Here he is at the corner. They're going to come with a corner blitz here. Can you come in, fly in here? Again, the questions about big nickel. Can they use you in some of these slot blitzes? Well, here they're going to bring him on a corner blitz, but it's from the boundary side in college where the hash marks are way farther out there. So this is about the same kind of split you're going to get as a big nickel. And so can you blitz in here and make a tackle on the corner on the running back? You can. So those are the things I really like as far as his physicality and why I see projection into that role. Now, what are some of his absolute strengths? Is as a press corner. I think this is where he's interesting. He could go either. You could have him. I think he's got good potential for outside, being a guy that just takes away anything outside the numbers. I think he also could be that 12 personnel guy. I think he could be both. I think that it's somebody that you could have inside on 12 personnel. You could have outside against 11 personnel. And so, here, he's as a press corner. He gets his hands on guys. He gets physical, and he disrupts timing. So here, the guy just cannot fight through the contact. You see it there that length and ability to get into a guy. Here up the top, they're going to try and run a little square in, and this is similar to what we saw against Malachi Fields, right? So this is now the translation of what we saw in the one-on-ones to the on-field. The guy's going to try and work in here and then lean on him, right? Like we saw Malachi Fields trying to do that, lean on him and then try and break inside. Well, his big frame, you can't do that to him. And so there's just no separation here. He's all over his guy. He's plastered him. The guys try and lean into him like that big frame, it doesn't work. Here, he's the near corner, and the same thing. They're going to try and work this inside where the guy tries to lean on him a little bit. Same thing. The guy's trying to lean in and then break inside. There's nowhere to go. And so he's just that big frame, long arms, makes the throwing window disappear. So here it is. You'll see it break into the throwing window. I mean, that big frame to get in here, long arms. This is a big wide receiver. Normally, this is a win, even if guys are in position. But no, not against him. He's got that big frame, able to just shrink throwing windows. Here, he's going to be the near corner. I can't remember which play this is. Right? It's against go ball. I like how it's another thing of shrinking the throwing window. So you've got the sideline. He works this guy to the sideline. Now this quarterback, to get this ball in here, when you have a guy of this height, you're talking about an absolutely tiny window to get this ball in there, and there's just nowhere to fit the ball, and it's an incompletion. So here he is the near corner, and you'll see him press in here, ride this guy all the way inside because just the guy can't separate. They're trying to fight him off. He's got too much length, too much size in there. Can't get him out of there. Here he's a near corner. They're trying to run a little double move on him on a go ball. Again, watch how he's able to get into the receiver's body. Here at this point, this receiver's disrupted. Understand this quarterback, this is a timing throw. So he's throwing to a landmark. So that's the way a lot of offenses at the NFL level will be. Throw to a landmark. That's what Brock Purdy does. Can he get into the receiver and disrupt the timing? Because if you can slow this guy down 2 steps, that ball is not even going to be anywhere close. Right? So here it was. Show him up. Ball's not even close. Ball's landing out here. It's 5 yards past his receiver. It's not because the quarterback isn't accurate, right? Because this quarterback, it's a timing thing. Like he's trying to look this safety off, and then he's going to turn and throw to a landmark, but you can't because your receiver is getting disrupted the whole way. And so that is where that length and that press ability really shines. Here he is at the top. He's a far corner. He's going to do a great job of disrupting this receiver. Here he goes. Work the guy all the way out there again. Just squeeze him along the sideline. Nowhere for the quarterback to throw the ball. I mean, this is tiniest of windows, and they're trying to throw it. It's back shoulder. It's out to the sideline. So that big body, his ability to get in press is really, really good. This is the wrong one. This one I just showed. All right, here we go. So now again, he's the far slot, so he's a slot here. It's not a true slot because it's 12 personnel, and so it's really twins wide receivers. But you're going to see him on another thing. They're trying to run this little switch release, and watch him just run stride for stride. He works over the interference. Great job. Cover this guy up, and there's just nowhere to throw the ball. I mean, this kid's frame shows up over and over how he just dwarfs a lot of these wide receivers. So they're going to try and hit him on a go ball. Here it's just stride for stride. He's able to turn, and he's long strider is out there. There's nowhere to throw the ball. It's way underthrown. They're not going to throw a flag for that. That ball is so far underthrown, it's considered uncatchable. Here he is in off coverage. Here's where this is where the footwork is good. He's going to stay over his toes. When this breaks in, he's able to put a foot in the ground and drive on the ball. And then the long frame is in there. The receiver cannot box him out. So these are where he's got that huge potential that's there. Can you make it a little bit more consistent? That's a huge question for him. Here he is at the top. They're going to try and run a little Spartan shade. So this is going to be a curl route on the outside and then a slot fade from the inside. In here, he does a good job then. Works in here, uses that frame. The quarterback's already throwing the ball out here, but you've disrupted the timing of the receiver, because the receiver's looking at this and he's saying, man, this guy's on top of me. This is going to be a back shoulder throw is what he's thinking. So he's going to dial down, turn around for a back shoulder. But the quarterback, because he's letting this ball go when he did, he's just throwing this out here thinking the receiver's going to go. You disrupt the timing of the receivers and the quarterbacks, and you force throws like that look like they're just super inaccurate throws, but that's caused because the corner was so physical. Here he's going to cover this corner route, this little slot fade really, really well. Shows again that long stride, long speed ability. Here he works inside. They're going to get him up in here, redirect, and then cover this long stride, huge body. There's just nowhere to throw that ball for a quarterback. That's again where the things that make you really excited about him. Here he's on the outside. They're going to try and run a little out and up. He's going to stay on top of the receiver and then run with it. Again, when he's in phase with these guys, or even a little out of phase, man, there's just the frame. There's just so little room for quarterbacks to get the ball in here. And you just see it, like they have to try and get the ball high and away, and it becomes uncatchable for other guys. Now, here's where, again, I picked certain plays because I want to show the potential of why I think he can be that big nickel. Here he is against Kenyon Sadiq, right? So Kenyon Sadiq's just running a go ball. This should be they are literally just looking at this as a physical matchup of their 6'4" tight end who's 238 pounds to be able to run a go ball, who runs a 4.40 down the sideline. They could match this guy up against 95% of the corners in college, and this is a matchup win for them. But you have a 6'3" corner who runs the same speed with him, and there's nowhere to fit the ball into. The throwing window is tiny because he's got the frame to match with that. That's why I think matching up against tight ends, this kid, I mean, you see this. This is Kenyon Sadiq, who's got a crazy high vertical leap. He's using that super high vertical. And this is the throwing window, a one-handed catch on the far side. There. That's why I think he's gonna this really could be an intriguing position for him. See, here he is at the far corner. He's a cover 2 guy here. So he's going to have a safety over the top, but I love the redirect here. You're the boundary side, right? So you're the short side of the field. You're a cover 2 guy. So where I saw earlier, he was a field corner where he redirected inside. Now you're a boundary corner. You need to protect your safety. So what you're going to do, you're going to drive this guy into the sideline, take him out of the play. Once that receiver steps out of bounds, he cannot be the first one to touch the ball. So you're a cover 2 guy here. You see this release down the sideline, then bang, drive your guy into the sideline, then turn and find and locate. So you've taken this guy out of the play. So now your safety doesn't even have to really care about him. The receiver gives up. He just says, I can't touch the ball first. So now you can locate, you can help get something underneath. Really high IQ football play there. Great awareness and execution of using that frame to create that space. Here, he's the near corner, and another example of why I think he could be that 12 personnel guy is this is going to be against Max Clare, the tight end from Ohio State that the Rams took in the second round. That here he is. Can you cover this guy on a go? And there it is. Same thing you saw versus Kenyon Sadiq. There's just nowhere to go with the ball. The quarterback did throw it to Max, right? So he's turned and he's trying to lay this ball out here, there, and there's just nowhere to go with the ball. It's uncatchable. He's trying to throw a back shoulder, tight end's not ready for it. He's running down the field. So it's pretty much a throwaway. And here they're going to run a little short curl. And here, again, good footwork, keeps his balance. He's going to stick a foot in the ground and drive on the ball and go break it up. There it is. Bang. Go break up that pass. So there is a lot to like about Ephesians Prysock here. You can see the vision for what he can be. I'm not certain which he will be, whether they're going to say you're just an outside guy, or if you're an outside guy who they can then move inside against these bigger tight end sets. I do think that he's, like I said, he's a developmental guy. I think it's going to be a year that he's going to have to get into an NFL training program where they want him to put on more mass. I think they want him to gain about 10 pounds. I think that would be where it would be, maybe not even fully 10 pounds, but maybe add a little bit of 6 or 7 pounds and trim some so that he just becomes a little bit stouter, a little bit stronger there to go play that role if that's what they want. I think he's got to get stronger either way, whether it just be functional strength or actual mass. I do believe they're going to want him to add mass. That's what I think anyways, is what I would project if I was the 49ers. So that is one Ephesians Prysock. Let me know what you think about him in the chat. Do you think that this was a good pick? That it was a bad pick in the 4th round? Do you look at it and go, I don't know if we should spend a 4th round pick on a 1-year developmental guy that we're not 100% sure what he's going to be. Maybe he grabs a little bit too much for you. Maybe the footwork, you say, I'm not sold that that's going to get a lot better. Or you say, you know what? I love what Raheem Morris has done with some big corners in the past. Who played the slot for Raheem Morris in LA? One Jalen Ramsey, big-bodied corner, right? As a guy who they wanted to be physical, who had a big frame and a big body, and they liked him in that spot. I think that is the vision for Ephesians Prysock. I think they're really high on Upton Stout, and I think they really like Upton Stout. I don't think they like Upton Stout against 11 personnel or against 12 personnel. I don't think they like him against every big receiver that's out there. And so Upton Stout, I think, could be a really, really high level 11 personnel slot corner. But you have to have an answer for the Rams and the Seahawks, who are going multiple tight ends, for the Bears, who are going to go multiple tight ends, for the Jaguars, if you ever have to play them. But They're going multiple tight ends. There was a run on tight ends in this draft because so many teams started to see the advantage of that. This is coming. And so you've got to have something there to battle that. And right now I don't see that on the roster. Maybe Marquis Siegel, but I don't think so. We saw Upton Stout's problems against tight ends against the Saints. Wasn't able to cover their tight ends. And so I just look at it and I say, if I'm them and I'm projecting of who could be a major stud at that role, he's got the potential for it. Now, I also see where they could say he's got the potential to be a really good outside corner, but I do believe that they really like Diamador Lenore and Renardo Green as their outside corners going forward. So if I'm just kind of, again, taking a stock of this, I say that's the role that makes the most sense. Plus, if you're looking at a 4th round pick, that is a really high value to me. If you're looking at somebody who could play that role, that a more limited role, but a very important role at an extremely high level, you are getting incredible value in the 4th round. But I don't like I don't like Jair Brown in big nickel. We've tried that and that did not go well at all. So I don't like that. I don't like Malik Mustafa playing man coverage on tight ends. I don't like that idea. I don't think that's going to be his best role. I don't like that with Marquis Siegel. I think he's best as a middle field super rangy guy that can also trigger really well against the run and make good tackles. I think if I'm just looking at our secondary, this is the guy that makes sense for that, but he's got to get better footwork, got to get stronger, got to put on some mass. Can he do that before training camp? I don't know. That's a big ask for a guy, especially if his body is not used to putting on a lot of muscle. He's a very lean guy, a lot of legs and arms. So we'll see. But hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully, Friday. We'll be going Friday. Adam will be back, and we will get into Ashton Davis, the new safety that we just signed. He's definitely not going to be your tight end guy. I will say Quiffle is asking, can Prysock play safety? There were a few reps he took in Washington at safety. I want to say there was 4 or 5 reps I saw of him playing safety. Don't love it. There wasn't like anything really there. That did not look natural or comfortable for him. His strengths, again, are going to be getting into guys playing press man coverage and being a physical, get my hands on this guy. Don't let him use their length against me. It just makes more sense to me for him to be more of that nickel against tight ends. I think he could do that really well. I think he can match up with them in the passing game. And then if you can add a little bit of mass, he's shown the willingness and the physicality to go play against the run and go come up and make tackles and play physical. He just needs to not get bullied a little bit. I really do think that could be his absolute best role. The reason I don't like him full time as an outside corner is I don't think he's going to have the foot quickness to play against like the Jackson Smith and Jigbas of the world. I don't see that. I don't see him being able to line up against JSN and play him in man coverage. And so it's 3rd down. You're trying to go press man, cover one. I don't even see it along his like development trajectory. I just don't think he has the feet to do it. So like I don't think that's like a matchup I don't really like. I like him better against a Puka Nacua, who a Puka Nacua is bigger. He's not as quick. He's not as slippery as a JSN, but he's so big that he can bully a guy like Upton Stout. I like Ephesians Prysock against him because the things that Puka does of leaning in and using leverage and using his body and sometimes banging into guys to create that separation, he matches up better against a Puka Nacua. When I look at different teams around the NFL, just some of these wide receivers, I'm like, I really don't like the matchup of him against it. So I do think that he works better in that big slot role. Again, where Puka Nacua, where's he play most of the time is in the slot. So I think that's a matchup or that's a role that just makes more sense. Watch out for that come training camp. I would not be surprised if some of the beat reporters get surprised that he starts playing in the slot a little bit more. So like that's one of those things that I think is going to come out, and it's going to be uh these articles. Surprisingly, Ephesians Prysock is taking snaps at the slot. Is this a potential competition or something that I just foresee these kind of articles coming out and people being like, "Whoa, hey, this came out of nowhere." I don't know, but if that happens, you saw it first here. But hope you enjoyed the episode. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much to our members of JFA49.com. You are the reason these episodes happen. That's a lot of film to get through. And I always hit this kind of like moment of dread with these, where I'll get through 3 games. I'm like, okay, that wasn't too bad. And then I look and I got 8 more games to go through. And that, oh gosh, this is going to take forever. And then I finally worked through that, and I cut all these clips, and then I have like 70 clips pulled, and I got to pare it down a little bit. And then then I get overwhelmed by the idea of, okay, how am I going to organize these clips and try and structure it in a way? And there's no way I'm going to be able to do this in time. And so I look at it and I go, and then I start organizing the clips, and then I get them put together, and then I feel better about it. And then I'm like, I got to write the notes. And then I think, well, this shouldn't be too bad. And then I get right up to the time. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to get it done in time, but then I do. So appreciate all the members of JFA49.com, because you help me and support get through all of that, and help my wife be understanding of why all that time is being put in there. So thank you so much. If you'd like to become a member to support content just like this, you can head over to jfa49.com, become a member. It's in the link of the description below. I just realized I totally forgot to set up the YouTube side. So have a fun ad-free show on this one. They're going to take the money out as soon as this ends anyways. But if you'd like to support it, there's tiers from $5 a month, $10 a month, $15 a month if you appreciate this work. But until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, go Niners.